It's Monday night. We're barking. It's dark outside. We've had a month-long break, Roos, and we're back. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good to see you too. I'm gonna go ahead and say that most people are gonna believe your assertion that it's dark outside based on the craft room behind you being lit by the day. But yeah, no, get a little pre-record in here for everybody. Excited to be back, man. Big hiatus there for us. And although I will say it didn't feel like it was very long. June absolutely flew by, man. Oh my God, dude. We have not really had what was it? I think 8 commits last month. So it did not feel like much of a month off. It was definitely a month on for us. But excited to get back, regroup, man. Now we got the march toward the season, and hopefully get some folks on here over the course of the next couple of months to enlighten us on that, and also just participate in our shenanigans as well.
Yeah, tonight we don't really have a whole lot of organization going on. We're just going to catch up. The funny thing was, I was like, good to see you, man. We did a show. We did the Georgia show last night. So, yeah. We did the Georgia show live last night. So it's not like we haven't talked or done shows or anything like that. But it's good to see you in this setting and to kind of get back to, I don't know, just goofing off and basically having our weekly phone call for everybody to listen to and watch. We still talk a lot more than that on the phone, but I'm actually down in South Georgia right now. I came down to Puddin Creek, technically Kirkland, Pearson, Georgia, to spend some time with my family, with my mom and dad, and that's where we're at. And so I'm over here. My mom had this room repurposed for a scrapbook room, and that's what the whole room is dedicated. It's kind of like an office / scrapbook room, and that's the way it works.
A lot
in
of
here.
Stuff in there.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's pictures everywhere. There's a lot of stuff this way.
I'm saying it looks like she has about every available thing that one could need for scrapbook purposes, I would say.
Yeah, no argument here. And like I said, there's plenty this way too. Like I pointed on the other side of the camera over here. There's plenty over here too. So, including an industrial size fan that may blow every picture. May turn this thing into a wind tunnel at any moment. But no, obviously this is I think it's my second trip of June or close to it. I think maybe at the end of May, but went on vacation, to Curry Beach, North Carolina, had a good time there. And covered a lot of commitments, man. Got surprised by a commitment as well with CJ Wiley going to Florida State, but just a lot happened in June. Like you said, man, it absolutely flew by.
I'm curious, Jake. Now, is this the house you grew up in?
For the most part, we moved here when I was 12. My mom and dad built this house with their own hands. They built this.
So I'm curious because this can go one of two ways only, really. Does your room in that house still look the same as it did when you left, or has it been repurposed?
No, it's been redone. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know. Sometimes you go to those rooms that are kept like, they're like a monument to the person who lived there. It remains untouched. My stepmom's room was like that at her parents' house, man. It's like all the stuff is still on the walls, all the things, the trophies are still up, so there's that mentality in some of the childhood homes.
That's kind of how my wife's room is back at the home she grew up in. She's kind of like me. She moved to a different house kind of midway through her childhood, but no, my room has been changed 9-10 different times, I think. My mom and dad are always kind of doing a little something with the house. So no, it's a lot different. The house itself is a lot different. Like this whole room used to be a piece of an L-shaped porch that was built onto the house originally, and then my dad closed it in so my mom would have a place to kind of call her office and stuff like that. And when she retired, she spent a lot of time in here. The front porch is over here to this side. So and then I'm overlooking the Rowe Ponderosa over here, the couple of acres of a pond and the front yard. It's pretty cool stuff. So it's
the kingdom which will honestly, all be yours someday.
I hope not. I don't want to tend to all this. But ultimately, it's kind of funny. I look back at my days and my first forays into the internet were at this house and dial-up internet. And yelling at somebody for getting on the phone and knocking us off the line and
Oh
stuff like
yeah.
that. Oh my God, we're doing video in this house. It never seemed real. It never seemed like a real possibility.
The future is now, and we're living in it. I'm curious, man, when you go home, you and I have obviously pretty different experiences with this because I live at home. I'm back in my hometown, but I'm curious, when you go home, do you run into folks? I mean, does it happen a lot, or do you kind of just stay at the house? You don't see people. I mean, what's the focus? And I'm curious too. Do people, when they see Jake Rowe out, are they like, oh my God, our boy, he made it? He's out here doing big things. Are you a local celebrity in Pearson?
No, not really. There are some people that kind of know what I do and they're big Georgia fans. But honestly, man, like there is a big Georgia following here, but there's a lot of Florida State fans. There's some Florida fans. Um, if I run into anybody, usually it's intentional because there's just not a whole lot to do in Pearson. There's barely a grocery store anymore. So you don't really go there. I mean, I went to the butcher shop a couple days ago to pick up some stuff to take over to my sister's because we had kind of a little cookout there. I guess it was on Saturday. My buddy Dale had a cookout for us on Friday, so saw him intentionally. He knows what I do, but he lives out in the big city of Athens, Georgia, named after Ellen Louise Athens. I believe it was FDR's wife or something like that. I don't know. And I went through Willacoochee here a couple of days ago as well. So we've kind of been jet setting around here. But no, man, mainly it's just family. I went and played poker with my high school football coach and some other guys on Thursday night, which is always fun. It's kind of, you go in there.
How cutthroat is that game?
Not at all. It's quarters. Dude, my man Lloyd McDonald, Coach Mac, has a Crown Royal bag full of quarters, and like he doesn't have to worry about anybody stealing it because I don't know if anybody can carry it. Like that thing is so heavy, and I had a good night, man. I had a good night. I think I won like $37, which is a good night there. It truly is a game of chance though, because there's no skill involved. You're not, because it's like quarter max bet or whatever. There's some pot matching going on and stuff like that, but you ain't bluffing anybody out of a pot. Like if you want to see it, you'll see it,
Sure.
So it's basically you're just, do you get the cards or do you not? And on Thursday night I got the cards, so that was fun.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, I haven't been up to too terribly much over the course of June myself. I bought a new video game, so I've been playing some video games to get out of the summer heat, keep me out of the bar a little bit. Switch, Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
It's Paper Mario, so it's real high level stuff. I love a good RPG though, man. You can kind of just disappear into that for a little while, and especially those Paper Mario games. They're really beautiful colors, and the music's very soothing. And then also, I bought some painting stuff, and so I've taken up painting over the course of June. Working on my first piece, got it over here behind the camera, but really just tooling around with it. I always, I've always had a kind of an artistic side, but I've never really gotten into painting, so I'm kind of just trying that out for the first time. And
I've got to say, like if had you gotten into it and become like famous, it'd be like, oh my God, that's a Roos.
Yeah,
that's a Roos right there on the wall.
Sure.
Are you kidding me? That thing's worth 79 cents.
It's a lot. I'll tell you this. It's a lot damn harder than it looks.
There's no doubt in my mind, buddy.
You watch Bob Ross do it, and you're like, okay, yeah, sure, I can make that happen. But like, it is so much harder to do that. So I've really just kind of been treating the first one as like practice. I'm just kind of doodling with paint, it's been fun, man, and it's kind of relaxing. And it's interesting. I haven't gone into it with any like thought about what I wanted to do or what I was trying to make. And so it's interesting to see just kind of what came out. So
So what you're going to do is you're going to practice on this first one, and then it's masterpieces from there.
Yeah, I think my Starry Night is second up. I think I'm going to really nail the second one. If I can just get through the yips with this first painting, I think I've got a Monet in me somewhere.
I want people to keep an eye on that ceiling just over the top of Jake Roos's head right there. Let's just see what's going to happen with this thing, okay? Angels and demons fighting each other on that thing. Maybe one of Roos's fevered dreams can can come to life on the ceiling of that house right there. You own your place, right?
I do. Yeah. It's my place. So yeah, I could conceivably I could do that if I wanted to. I was talking about yesterday the another thing that I want to pick up and I have never done before, but I've always been super interested into is I'm going to build a little station outside my house with a couple of fence posts, and I'm going to put a big piece of plywood up against it, and I'm going to start trying to get into graffiti.
Okay. You really, I mean, I'll be honest with you, as you were saying that, I was just guessing in my head, right? Like, is he gonna make like a some paintings of some bears and cut some face holes out of it and invite people to come take photos?
Yeah,
or
just have that in my yard.
Yeah, or what's gonna happen here? By the way, I see my dad driving down the driveway right here. You might see old Mike Rowe just cut in behind me any moment. So I don't think he knows. I don't think he knows what I've got going on over here. So he might waddle through behind me here in just a minute. But I didn't know where you were going with that. And graffiti, dude. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think graffiti is absolutely incredible. Like, I mean, it's not like I have no idea the practice or the natural talent. That's a world that I know nothing about. But when I see when you go into an urban area or you see a train car or something with some cool graffiti on it, I'm like, how did you do that? Because I am stick figures all day long. I have not one artistic bone in my body when it comes to like drawing or painting or anything like that.
Yeah, I've always been interested in it. I even as a kid, I did a lot of like lettering. That was one of my favorite things. When I would doodle, I would kind of like draw logos or whatever. And I was always just really interested in fonts and how lettering worked. But graffiti was always very interesting to me. And I started thinking about it the other day, and I was like, my God, how hard could it be to create a place to do that? I would need a big piece of something and some spray paint. And so I think I'm going to pick that up here in the next little bit. I've been watching some videos on it. Again, one of those things that looks easy, but I know is going to be a lot harder than it appears.
I think the last time I used spray paint was a Pinewood Derby car back in the day. I mean, dude, honestly, we can do a Bark After Dark, the Pinewood Derby edition, and we could probably tell stories that, the stories of graphiting my wheels and spinning them 100 times a night.
Absolutely, brother. I came up with this one design one year that I thought I was like, I'm about to take the world over with it. I was convinced of it. I got second. I was so upset by that. It broke my heart.
I did okay both times in speed. One year I tried to kind of make a little bit of a design. It was almost like a car with a spoiler on the back. And I wanted to put a V in the spoiler, and they were pretty adamant about us doing it ourselves. And man, I got that V in that spoiler so off center, and it looked like it looked like a deformed whale tail, like it looked just so bad. But that thing was fast, it was quick because I put the work in. I was graphiting those wheels and getting them good and slick. We had the weight just right in it and stuff like that. My favorite thing was always the guys who pushed it, like to push that weight to the limit.
Oh, yeah.
And you saw them out there carving the lead out with their pocket knife, like right before. I mean, I know we're speaking Japanese to some folks over here, but
now I'm curious, were you doing Pinewood Derby through the like Boy Scouts or through church?
Through church.
Oh, okay, yeah. So ours was through church too. There he is.
Yeah. I told you it's probably
yes, sir.
So
the man, the myth, the legend.
No, that's Mike Rowe, but it's not the one that's got the movie in theaters right now from Dirty Jobs fame. That's not that Mike Rowe.
We need to have your dad on. We should get both of our dads on as guests of Bark. Yeah,
there
we go.
The curtain call. We got a curtain call from the man.
We need to get both of our dads on at some point. I think that would be fun. We should do that for Father's Day next year.
Yeah, we should do that for sure. Yeah, I think Mike Rowe and Chuck Roos would give us a good show.
I think so.
They'd probably share some stories that are not safe for, stories from their 20s. Would be rough times for the boomers, for those guys. But no. So all right, let's. this is fun for us. I doubt it's fun for anybody else. I don't know though. We've recently learned that our man Rusty Mansell's mom is a big fan of Bark After Dark, and we would like to tell her thank you so much. That has made our day. You are. No offense to anybody else out there, you're our favorite. You're our favorite listener. You're our favorite viewer and listener. We appreciate you. You are number one, and you are not to be usurped at any point.
Mama Mansell, we appreciate you.
Now, when your son gets off of his when he gets some DawgsHQ merch and everything like that, if he ever gets into the Bark After Dark merch, you will be the first one to receive it.
I love it.
100%. So this is something we wanted to talk about. We've got some guys lined up for the month of June. Some guys we've been thinking about. We're going to have Davin Bellamy on again and talk with him because we thought that was one of the most entertaining shows that we did. We're also going to have Chuck Oliver from 680 The Fan. We actually had him in line to come on a show earlier, and he just couldn't. We couldn't get the technical things worked out, so we didn't have Chuck on. But I wanted to give us an opportunity to talk about, obviously, joke around about some because again, we didn't put the disclaimer out there. Deeply unserious show. There are some funny ones that we would like to have for certain reasons, but realistically, dream guests. Does anybody pop out to you off the top of your head other than Chuck Dowdle, who will be a dream guest until he can't speak anymore?
Yeah, absolutely. One guy I really want to get on the show, and he's been hard to track down these last few years because I wanted to get him for my book as well, and I couldn't get him for that either. Is Rowe Smith because I'd like to talk to Rowe again. I want to see. I'd like to relive that day of his commitment through his eyes because I know what I remember, but I know a lot of it was probably skewed by the nerves I had going and the adrenaline, and I'm probably missing some big pieces of it. So that's a story I'd like to hear. Plus, I'd just like to hear, what he's up to, man. I mean, first round pick, and now he's out here killing it in Baltimore, looking like the stud body he would be and was the whole time. So. Roquan's definitely somebody I would love to have on the show. Mark Rick would be fun. I'd like to bring him on. Coach Rick, always a great guy to talk to. You see him out. He did the foreword on the book and did an excellent job for Patrick Garbin and I. So, and then I guess, if you really wanted to get into like dream of dream guests, like people that probably we will never get, but I would love to see. One guy who I think does a tremendous job in the podcast sphere, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but maybe I am a little bit, is Stone Cold Steve Austin, man. Stone Cold Stone Cold has he's just a natural at it. And I mean, that makes sense. I mean, wrestling's entertainment and he knows how to do that as well as anybody in the world. So, but he's really compelling in that setting. So I'd love to get Stone Cold. And Keon Coleman is somebody also I'd love to interview because he's just amazing, man. He's just so funny. And the guy it just oozes out of him. And you and I have talked about this. I don't know if it's a character and I don't know that it matters. If it's who he is, that's great. And if he's figured out that this is a super endearing thing, he's all the smarter for it.
I think that might be him. I just think that might be him.
That's the coolest thing ever if it is.
You brought up that Stone Cold Steve Austin thing. I listened to a comedy podcast, Two Bears, One Cave, Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer. I don't mind plugging it because it's really funny. It's also extremely crude. So beware. I mean, there's some stuff going to be said on there that your kids don't need to hear. But Jon Stewart was stepped in for Bert Kreischer here recently, and I don't care what you think about Jon Stewart. I think he can be incredibly funny, and then I think he can get a little too political at times too. So, but that's kind of his job, is to kind of step in that space. So whatever. But he was talking about how he did, WWE there that one time, and I don't even remember when this happened, but he was talking about that whole experience, and he was talking about how just engaging and nice and communicative all of those performers are. It is just unbelievable how big a showman they are and how they are able to kind of make you feel sometimes like you're the only person in the room. so now, when I think I look at it through that lens, and I'm like, all right, these professional wrestlers they're pros, dude. They are absolute pro entertainers, and they know what they're doing. On the realistic side of it, a guy that we've tried to work with and has actually said he wants to come on, but we haven't been able to get him, Claude Felton,
Yes.
is a guy that I can't wait to get on here. I think Claude would be very entertaining. One of my favorite stories about Claude is Seth Emerson told me one time that he saw Claude at a Kroger in Athens, and he just kind of snuck up on him and was like, so what time are interviews tomorrow? And Claude, without missing a beat, just kind of whipped around and said, I don't know. They're going to let us know when. I mean, he was just like in SID mode at Kroger on a Saturday,
Sure.
Consummate professional and a funny guy just in general. Would be great. Another Georgia SID guy I would love to have on here because I had so many great conversations with him over the years before he retired. And Georgia fans aren't going to know who he is, but Tim Hicks is my dude. Like I think the world of Tim Hicks. I used to seek him out to speak to him. Lauren Smith, I know I'm getting real Georgia heavy on this, but Lauren Smith would be funny. Well, there was that one time that, Larry, there were so many, Lauren, what do you got from my childhood, and hearing him pop in from the sideline. And that's one of the reasons that Jeff Sintel episode we did was one of my favorites, was because I didn't know Jeff had that kind of tie to Larry Munson. And, for us to be able to talk about that, was fun. So yeah, we those are some guys on the absolute dream end of it. Oh man, there's so many people that I would love to have on the show. Kelly Stafford would probably be one. Apparently you can get her to say some stuff on a podcast, bless her heart. Which I think way too big of a deal was made of that, especially considering it was 2 years old. It was something that had come out before. I don't know, man. It's there are so many former Georgia players would be fun to have on, especially the ones that have gone on. We need to get DJ Shockley on. That one's definitely within the realm of possibility.
Another guy you mentioned, Miko Hardman.
Yeah,
it's such a fun personality. And Richard LeCount too, man.
It would be fun. I wish we could get those two on together.
Yes, yeah.
If we were ever going to do a two guest show, getting those two on together, because those two as a lot of money to be made. Those two as recruits used to kind of bounce off each other in ways that was, they're just so much personality between them. Just so much going on there. So that would have been a lot of fun too. But yeah, and then. Vladimir Putin. I think
sure.
If we really wanted to get a real hard hitter in here, see if we could break him. I wonder if we could,
Have you ever watched the Oliver Stone interview with him?
No, huh?
It's unsettling. Is what I would say. He is like, he oozes evil. It's like he is like what people, like when you see a bad guy in a movie, like he is that, but like that's who he is in real life, man. He's like, you can just feel it kind of coming off of him. And yeah, he's nonplussed by everything. He's just, kind of stone faced. Yeah, getting him to break would be something. I don't think we have to worry about getting him on Bark After Dark, but
I don't know.
That'd be the get of the century, though.
As they say down here where I am right now, we got some lines in the water. We got some jug lines out there.
Kremlin, give us a shout. We'll line that up.
But you know what would be great though, as much as we love the show and when we had the merch that was shared with us, I wish we'd get Danny McBride on here. Because I think Danny McBride would fit our vibe very well. I don't know. Sometimes I think that some people might get on this show and they might be like, "Man, I want these guys to be our best friend." And we could be best friends with some of these guys and maybe see our star soar in this world.
This is how we meet people, guys. This is where we come to make friends.
Yeah, I was hoping John T. Edge would want to be our friend, but I don't think he wants to be our friend. I think they were just too rapscallion-ish for him.
I can see that.
We don't have enough talent. All right, so it's time. It's daylight outside. There's a lot of windows in here, but I'm ready to take off. So,
after a month, I got a lot of pent up energy. Master of my own domain. All right, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I'll go first. I'll go
All right.
first. So, all right. So, fully themed. So I don't know if I should say mine before this to illustrate an example, but I think you'll get it. You're coming home. All right. Your grandmother, mom. I don't know if I know your sisters are younger than you. I don't know if they cook. My sister's 4 years younger than me, but she's a phenomenal cook. Um, you know how we like food. If your mom says, "Hey, what do you want to eat? What do you want me to make?" I'll make you something. And this is a little bit more of a deal for me because, like you said, you live at home. You get to come home a lot more often. What are you choosing? What's the meal that mom's putting on the plate, or grandmother, or whoever is putting on the plate? If Jake Reese gets to pick the menu for the back home.
Definitely probably number one, and I think everybody would agree with me and my family. I think everybody could point to this one because normally what it is on your birthday at my granny's on Sunday, the week of your birthday, you get to pick what you get to what everybody gets to eat. And I believe for probably the last 8 to 10, maybe 15, 20 years, if it's my turn to pick for my birthday, we're having chicken and dumplings. And we're not, we don't do the flat dumplings. We do the big puffy guys. That's probably my go-to choice. Additionally, I would say, lasagna is in there. I do love a good homemade lasagna. My mom, yeah, it's deeply authentic too. You know, we're out here doing it right. And then my mom makes this dish, and it is just one of the simplest things on earth, man. But I've tried to replicate it, and I just can't quite get it. And it's these chicken burritos she does, and she makes them up, and there's some cream cheese involved, and I just can't get the consistency right, man. But there's nothing better than eating those chicken burritos, then finishing up, and then taking some extra tortillas and mixing in a little bit more taco sauce and sour cream with the leftover goo from the inside, and just wiping that stuff off the plate with the tortilla, man. I love that meal. So definitely some of my top ones are out there. You look like you mouse water a little bit.
Yeah, to wipe my drool off. You start talking about sour cream and salsa and tortillas and stuff like that, and I get, mine's cube steak. Every single time.
Choice.
Fry up that cube steak, gravy, mashed potatoes, some peas and butter beans. Either we do it here at my mom's house. My sister made it on Saturday when we went over there. I called it a cookout. It's better than a cookout, man. It's unbelievable. And the funny thing is like you do that, and then you sit around. There's a bunch of cube steak kind of left in the pan there. Just walk by and just chew on that, just gnaw on that cold cube steak all throughout the day.
Do you make it at home?
I've tried, and I crushed the gravy. I did such a good job with the gravy, but no, I didn't. I've always messed up the cube steak. My sister told me it's because, either my sister or my mom told me it was because I didn't get it double cubed. I didn't get them to run it back through twice. It was just a little tough when I did it. So this time she also had some deer cube steak that she did too that was also really tasty. That's definitely the meal we call for. Part of that's my wife. My wife also is a big fan of it. I would be just as good with fried chicken, which we had at my aunt's house yesterday for a cookout there. So I've gotten a chance to eat some fried dark meat chicken and some cube steak since I've been home.
Now, when you say cube steak, I'm curious. Are you doing like just the fried one, or are you doing like the smothered cube steak that's in the gravy?
Just the fried, and then you make the gravy on the side.
I got you.
Fried and make gravy on the side.
Oh,
what you got?
I've not eaten today, and I'm really hungry after we did that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. There's apparently there is a Mexican restaurant in town that has a buffet. That when we get through recording this, I think I'm just gonna go murder it. I think I'm gonna go hit it pretty hard.
All right, so. I told you before we got on here that I had a banger for you today, and I've even got props for this one. So I built something. I built a little something here, and it's going to be a new segment, that I'm throwing in here. We're going to call it Rowe's Rankings, I'm going to get you to power rank some stuff from time to time. I'm not going to tell you when I'm doing this. I'm just going to drop stuff on you, and I'm going to make you power rank it for me.
This is really what the people want anyway. They want to hear my rankings.
So Rowe's Rankings here today, and I was trying to think of, all right, how will we do this? What will what makes sense, how to start this off. And one that came up for me, I thought just made all the sense in the world. Summertime Country Classics.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got 5 classic country songs here that just scream summertime to me. And I'm going to need you to put them in order in terms of what's going first if you're running the party playlist. So first up, we got Alan Jackson's Chattahoochee, Tracy Byrd, The Watermelon Crawl, Tim McGraw's Something Like That, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Fishing in the Dark, and then Deanna Carter with Strawberry Wine. Rowe, take us through this list, man.
I'm going to start at number 5, and it's going to start with Deanna Carter. Strawberry Wine.
I knew you were going to do that.
Not because I hate the song, but because my wife and my kids absolutely love it, and I get pounded with this song like I mean the greatest, like it's one of the greatest songs ever written, and it's fine. It's totally fine. I remember I think I was in middle school or maybe early high school when this song came out. And every girl that I knew, when this was their anthem, and I didn't even understand. I was like, okay, whatever. I saw Deanna Carter live, and she performed it live really well. One time I saw her, Keith Urban, Kenny Chesney back in like 2002, the summer of 2002, and that was a great. I'm surprised there's no like prime Kenny Chesney, early Kenny Chesney.
Kenny Chesney was near the list. Summertime obviously was a song I thought about. I mean, really that whole late 90s, early 2000s, like Anything But Mine was a great summer song.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good ones he had, but yeah, I stuck with these. I went with, and I threw Deanna Carter in because I thought it was appropriate to have a woman on the list. I thought that
absolutely
one for the ladies. So
yeah.
And you will say, if you want to turn the party out with the ladies, you put that on after a few beers, and the ladies are coming with the karaoke, man. They're singing Strawberry Wine top of their lungs.
An underrated one of my favorite songs by a female in country music ever that nobody ever talks about is I believe it's Jody Messina. My Give a Damn's Busted.
Oh yeah, that's a good song.
I don't know why that song just resonates with me, because sometimes it just hits me and I'm just like about 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, all right, My Give a Damn's Busted. It is absolutely broken. It needs a new capacitor. We need to rewire that thing. It is out of commission for a while. We'll do it tomorrow. I would say number 4, Tim McGraw, Something Like That. There's some of those, that era Tim McGraw stuff that I love, and I like that one. Don't love it. Number 3, Watermelon Crawl. I will absolutely belt out every word on the when I hear it on the radio. I don't hear it very often anymore, but I absolutely love it. Nitty Gritty Dirt Band comes in at number 2, and of course Chattahoochee is number 1. I
thought Nitty Gritty Dirt Band might sneak in at number 1 because that song is an absolute. I mean, that you want to talk about one of the great. I mean, not that Chattahoochee's not. Fishing in the Dark is like one of the greatest feel-good songs of all time. It is. That has such a good vibe to it.
Yeah. I've held a cold beverage in my right hand and put an arm around a buddy with my left and let that one go many a times. So that's a great song. But I don't know, man. There's just so much nostalgia with Chattahoochee, and it's one of the greatest country songs of all time. It's like, I mean, it within the first couple of notes that it comes. Yeah, absolutely. The funny thing is I remember when it first came out, I think I was actually in elementary school when this came out. It was maybe later on in elementary school, but I remember that whole song, I was willing, but she wasn't ready type thing. And I remember the first time I heard those words and I was just like, oh man, oh, Alan Jackson, oh man, he's crossing some lines here. This is racy. Yeah. Oh man, out of the mouths of babes.
That was easily, though, I think of this list. I mean, Chattahoochee like took the world over. It was huge, like in a way that Friends in Low Places was huge. It was like universally loved. It was everywhere, and the staying power was just incredible. It's one of those songs I don't know anyone who doesn't know that. It doesn't not
right. the only song that I can remember from like from that era of country music that came close and it didn't get there was Grundy County Auction by John
Oh,
Michael Montgomery.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
that one, just the speed of that whole thing and kind of that was so catchy. I felt like a lot of people latched onto that one, and that one spread like wildfire too. But it hasn't had the staying power that Chattahoochee has, which people still kind of rave about it this day. And I look back and I think about like that era of country music, and honestly, I probably underappreciated Alan Jackson during that time because he never was one of my go-tos. But you look back and Living on Love and
Oh,
all of the stuff that
his
he did was
catalog,
just
his catalog is
outrageous.
so deep, man. I mean, just so many hits in there, and even the deep cut stuff, man, is
Yeah,
really, really good. The stuff that didn't get a lot of airplay. Alan Jackson, I agree with you. Probably a little as big as he was, probably still underappreciated for his time.
yeah, no doubt. And another Tracy Bird banger that I think I should bring up right now is "Lifestyles of the Not So Rich and Famous."
Oh, that's a great song. That's a good
Yeah,
song.
beans and
Uh,
barbecue.
I will say, I Tracy Bird. I hate to admit this, I get Tracy Bird sometimes confused with Clay Walker.
Okay, okay,
Then what?
yeah.
I'd believe I would. You could tell me that was either guy, and I would believe.
You could fire Then What up into the sun. I'm not big on these I'm not big on the country songs with the steel drums in them. Like
Sure.
you ain't reggae, bro.
No,
That's
I
where
did
Kenny
take
Chesney
one.
started to lose me.
I had another song on here that I took off of this list, and I'm curious how it would have factored in if I'd left it on here. It was Garth Brooks's Two Pina Coladas.
6.
No thought.
Number 6. Deanna Carter in the power rankings of songs about alcoholic beverages. It would have ranked number 3 on this list because obviously Watermelon Crawl was about sweet watermelon wine. So the Pina Coladas. No, that's not one of Garth's best feet forward right there. The Red Strokes is a better song than that.
The Red Strokes is an incredible song. I was listening to the Red Strokes yesterday.
Not a lot of people love it. Not a lot of people love it.
I love that song, and it's probably the greatest music video in the history of all music videos, in my opinion.
Boy, I've never heard that take from you. I'm definitely not a fan of the music video, but the song I do enjoy.
You're not a fan of the Red Strokes music video?
I was just so weird. All those colors.
Yeah, that's what makes it like. I remember seeing that as a kid, and I was like, "What is happening here? Why? What is going on?" And as an adult, I watched it. That video is metal. I mean, that is metal as hell, dude. All that paint falling down, and he's covered in it. Now, what's not metal is when he takes his little feet and he like dances in it. That's not real metal at all. But
yeah,
the rest of it's pretty incredible. I have in the last week searched that video out. It's a very tough video to find online, but there is a performance of him on Top of the Pops in the UK performing the song. One of my absolute favorite Garth Brooks songs.
Good list, though. Good list. A very thought-provoking list. I had to kind of think about it while I was,
Our
I had to kind
of Rowe's rankings, man. We'll bring that segment back. I can assure you.
We could also make a Roos's rankings graphic. I mean, there's not a whole lot you and I can't do that's not interchangeable. Same first name, same first letter, last name. We can a lot of alliteration there. So, that was fun, man. That was a good Jaking Off segment. All right, we will be back with you guys next Monday. Guest to be determined, if there is a guest at all. I mean, I don't know. Well, I thought this was fun. Why didn't you? We'll check with you guys next Monday. Check out all the shows we got left coming this week. We'll be back with you with the Georgia show, maybe a commitment or two. Busy week coming. So we look forward to it. Y'all take care.